7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good afternoon and a very, very warm welcome to all of you out there. It is a brilliant afternoon and we have a brilliant session on behalf of Sangeet Foundation. So, what are we going to talk about today? Sangeet Foundation, as always, believes in spreading happiness through music and the arts. And the first person I am going to bring on board is the founder of Sangeet Foundation. So he is not, so I'm not going to be the only one hosting you today. I will have with me Mr. Joy Dore, who is the founder of Sangeet Foundation. And just to remind you that we are celebrating International World Happiness Day. Today is day one. Tomorrow we have day two. And to tell you more about it will be Joy Dore. Over to you, Joy Dore.
Hi, hello everybody. Welcome to this session of World Happiness Day, or it's also known as the International Day of Happiness. So hope we can be happy. So we don't have to dedicate a day for happiness. It's a cliche, but yes, we do have to be happy every day of our lives. And so as what we do is, given the fact that Sangeet Foundation believes in happiness through music and the arts, we celebrate World Happiness Day, and we celebrate it over 2 to 3 days time. So today and tomorrow we are going to celebrate this. Tomorrow we have a fabulous program again with Navin Kundra, a very happening young man, very happening singer, composer, songwriter, and so on. So we'll be having that with us. Now, what we will be looking forward to today is that we are raising funds for NHS mental health, and so I'm requesting all of you do contribute to the Sangeet Foundation account for the NHS mental health fundraiser, and we are going to do it for a month so that whatever we raise, it goes totally to NHS mental health. Now, with that, I think what we would also want to do is, we do have these sessions. Next week also, we have a fantastic session with a classical artist. But for the moment, let's focus on International Day of Happiness or World Mental Health Day today. And it's a very, very special afternoon because we have got very, very special guests with us. And today's host is obviously, along with me, we have Indrani, who's the head of programs for Sangeet Foundation. And I'll request her to invite the guest of honor today and introduce him.
Okay.
Indrani.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Jyotada. So yes, it is a very, very special afternoon for all of us at Sangeet Foundation. And the reason for that is we have the man himself, Mark Williams. Mark Williams is a keynote speaker, author, and international campaigner. He is the founder of International Fathers Mental Health Day. He has spoken at numerous conferences and mental health events around the world and worked with health professionals to deliver better care. Mark speaks from personal experience. He has had issues with alcohol, had a breakdown, and considered taking his own life shortly after the birth of his son. Added to this, Mark's wife Michelle had severe postnatal depression, so he assisted her through difficult times also. He suffered in silence for years until he entered community mental health services. He founded International Fathers Mental Health Day and hashtag How Are You Dad campaign to make sure that all parents have support for the whole family. Mark has delivered several talks on talk shows on television and radio stations around the world while working with Dr. Jane Hanley. They both published articles on fathers of paternal mental health together. Mark was awarded Inspirational Father of the Year and Local Hero at the Pride of Britain Awards. In 2012, he was even invited to meet the royal family on World Mental Health Day. We have a lot more waiting us for the rest of the evening as we walk with Mark through this journey. And I think it's important for us now to recognize how fathers and the men in our lives are affected. So before we bring Mark on, a small TED Talk video from him.
So as we know, a lot of parents, they've got a past histories of anxiety, some with depression, and even some with severe traumas before they become parents. I've never dealt with those traumas. So I want to take you back to my own personal experience. I'm from up the valleys, Nantly Moyle near. My father was grandfather was a miner, in the Wyndham Western. Very much a man up, come on, let's get on with it. If we had a problem, we'd go down to the pub. I never talked about mental health to my parents. We never talked about anything like that. Unfortunately for me in school, I couldn't keep still. I was very agitated in school. I find it hard to keep on the spot now. And what I didn't know at the time, I was diagnosed at 40 years of age with ADHD and dyslexia. So like I said, I had a lot of low self-esteem, unfortunately, before I became a parent. But luckily for me, I entered the youth club in the valleys. And there was a gentleman who said, you can do anything with your life. Don't let anyone tell you can't do anything with your life. And I went on to be a British champion. I was a national champion in 3 different sports. But
It's time to welcome Mark on to our program. Let's have Mark on.
Hi everyone. Hope you're all okay.
How are you? That was... It was such a powerful video there, Mark. Brilliant.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's your point, trying to inspire people as well. If they are going for difficulties, that there is a way that you can help other people as well. And that's what all my work has always been about, is really something good has to come up with something bad as well to educate people. So,
yeah. Thank you, Mark, first of all, for joining us. It is such an honor for us to have you on board. And I'm sure by the time we finish this session, we all will be a little more educated, if not anything else. So my first question to you, Mark, is, I was just reading through some of the things before we came onto the session, and says official statistics actually recognize only 10% of dads suffer from postnatal depression, but a study by the National Childbirth Trust found 1 in 3 dads are worried about their own health, and 3 in 4 dads are worried about the health of their partner. Now, this obviously proves that a father's mental health is a real and a definite problem that needs attention in today's world. Mark, how does a person know, especially a father, a new dad, or even a man, know that his condition, it needs attention now? How did you know, Mark, and what are the basic triggers?
Yeah, definitely. It does look different in fathers, like especially so. A lot of men suppress those feelings because obviously we only now starting to talk about mental health. So for generations, we suppress all those feelings, trying to man up and get on with it and be the man, as they say. And that's only contributes to other factors then. For instance, personality changes, especially in new fathers, during pregnancy and afterwards. So give an example, avoiding situations, overworking, using alcohol or drugs, or it could be feelings of desperation, loneliness is a big factor in fatherhood, because, as you say, services are very focused on the mum, and rightly so. My work is never about taking the attention away from her, never has been. But you have to include the father and the partner in that system as well, because it has far better outcomes for the whole family and that child's development as well. So personality changes I would definitely look out for, especially in men, because men is only now starting to talk about our feelings and emotions, which we need to pass on to our next generations.
True. Yeah, as you said, I think so the first trigger that we should, and men should be able to recognize it in themselves first, I guess, before they can get help. But as you were just saying, men are more likely to recognize and describe physical symptoms of depression, even if they were tired and losing weight. They would say, I'm just irritable, I'm angry. They would have a drink or two and think it's something that they're, that's going to pass, and never really accept that, okay, is this a real issue? Now, of course, in Sangeet Foundation, we talk about how music can be a big healer, or any kind of art, any kind of, whether it's painting, it's sports, it's, anything that you do that takes your mind away from that. Do you think that would be a solution in a certain way to try and engage in some kind of an art form, or, in some kind of music? What's your take on that, Mark?
Absolutely. I'm very person-centered, I am. So what works for me might not work for other people as well. But, music therapy has been a massive part. I think even growing up, I was always into music because it's like mindfulness. I do a lot of last 11 years, I've been more into like meditation, than ever.
Right.
I do a lot of meditation. My wife does meditation. Like, for instance, my generation, growing up, or my father's generation, gosh, what's all this new? But that works for me, and it does effectively. And music and arts, obviously, especially with somebody with ADHD, we're more creative. We're more creative, and that works massively for people like myself, as well. So I definitely recommend. And it's good because you form a community within each other then. So you get a peer support and help support as well.
Yeah, brilliant. That's exactly what the idea is, that if you are able to reach out, if you have like-minded people, and as you said very correctly, people with ADHD are so prone to be, they're so good in music, they're so, they have the ability to do well in one of the arts, that it is always a good solution, probably one of the many solutions too, if they believe there is a problem. So what we are going to do, Mark, right now is there is the group that we were talking about that has actually won our hearts, and they strive to achieve exactly that. So they strive to achieve something through their music, and they are called Ready Pop. And I would like to get Joyantha Ray to try and tell us something more about it before we give out some of the awards that we hope to give out today. So over to you, Joyantha.
Yeah, thank you for that. Actually, for Ready Pop, basically, they have been brilliant with music, and essentially, I have been a recipient of the kind of work they have done in case of my daughter. So Ready Pop is established in 1998, is an innovative music and arts charity with strong reputation for inspirational, engaging arts projects that makes positive difference in people's lives. They are passionate about the power of music to communicate and bring people together. Now, when I talk about this, I would like to show a short video which is so powerful, which talks about Ready Pop and what they do. And obviously, the team, I will bring on the team and the person who's being awarded. So, but before that, I take pleasure in bringing the video of Ready Pop. And here goes. And changing lives, it has made a big difference for my daughter. So I think, that is what they do. But before that, then Mark, would you do the honors of, announcing the person whom we are awarding today?
Yes, I'm just going to get out my list for you. I'm pleased to announce the winner of the first award is Gavin Lumbas, of Creative Director of Ready Pop.
Yeah.
Hi, Gavin.
Hello, hello, thank you.
So
I hope I said your name right.
Lombos would be the it's a Hungarian name, but I'm from North Wales, so it's nice to have a fellow Welshman awarding me.
So thank you, Gavin, for joining in. So today's award is from. So I just wanted to put up the award here, and so this is the award which so it's a certificate as well as there's a £100 which comes from Baron. So we will. This is the company which it's accounting company who are sponsoring this. So here goes the award.
Thank you.
So right.
Good.
So would you want to say something about ReadyPop, Gavin, and what we are likely to see right now, so in terms of videos and so on?
Yeah, so we've got a couple more little videos, clips to share in a little while that relate to some of the work, kind of more recent work that we did with young people in particular. So I know that I'm hoping that Amy and Louise are going to join us in a little while from our team. But as a music organisation, as a charity, kind of following from what Mark mentioned earlier, we echo that person-centered approach. We would call it participant-led in our lingo. So, we deliver and run lots of music projects. We have some community bands that we run every week, and they're still going through the lockdown. So we run a choir for retired people, older people, and a ukulele band for older people. I run a Brazilian samba drumming school for anybody who wants to join. We have just a general community ukulele band, drumming groups, and those things happen every week, and hundreds of people take part in those. And one of the things that we found there is that when we set these things up, we set them up just as a way for people to engage in music making, and to perform and just get out and entertain people and have a social side of it. I didn't really set it up thinking about it as a way to improve people's mental health. It wasn't, the thing was, music's good, we should share it with more people. We should just do it because it's a good thing. But so many people tell us about how it's a highlight of their week or a really important thing, or that it makes, it helps them to de-stress, or it helps them just to forget about stuff for a couple of hours. And we do create these families of people. We go out and perform, and you perform, and people are happy. They see you. People like music. They're generally smiling at us when we're performing, so we feel good too. So that's one side of what we do, and then we also run more specific work with young people. So we have a program that we call AAA, Access All Areas, and the idea is that well, two sides of it. There are young people who, as Mark described, things like ADHD, autism, dyslexia, all of these things can make life difficult in school for young people. And we quite often meet people who are either being excluded or on the verge of exclusion. And these are factors in why they're not getting on. But if they've got a passion for music, they're engaged with music, then we can use and support that interest and re-engage them in education, or find a way to make education more appropriate to their needs. So, we help people just to express themselves, and through that, we find ways for them to gain qualifications or move on to the next stage in their lives, really. So, we help young people to access college and further education, or do arts awards and things like that. And then the other side of it is young people who perhaps they haven't been making music. They're kind of maybe a little bit unsure about what they want to do, but music's a kind of thing that they might be a bit interested in. So programs like the one we do with the Prince's Trust, Get Into Music, that's where we kind of support young people and say, well, why don't you ever go on a drum kit? Why didn't you ever go in the studio? Why not, here's a guitar, here's a couple of chords. We form them into bands, and by the end of the week, they're performing to friends and family, quite often for the first time on a stage. and we'll video it and share it with people. And quite often, you know, that's the start of somebody's musical journey. We just get them on that first stage, but once you start it, it just becomes part of your life. And in these cases, we're not looking to find the next Ed Sheeran or anything. We're just trying to, you know, people he just want to. And I'm sure Ed Sheeran, if he wasn't Ed Sheeran, would still be playing the guitar every day and singing songs at home. You know, he's doing that because he loves it. He just happens to be successful at it. But we also do have a little bit of work that we do that's about people who want to pursue it as a career as well, and then helping them to pursue and develop their music career, perform. And we run a festival, so we're doing things all the time, but it's all music related, and about supporting people. So the two videos that I think you're going to show, one is by a young guy called J. Dot. And he just happened to come in one day with his lyrics, living with anxiety. I think it's just talking about exactly the stuff that, you know, we didn't ask him to, you know, to go away and write a rap about anxiety. You know, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't ask somebody to do that. But he brought in these lyrics and they're really powerful. He played this to some people. I know Amy and Louise know a lot more about the detail of.
So I'll bring them on. They are in the backstage.
Yeah.
So I'll just
Hello.
I don't want to speak on your behalf, but so there's the J. Dot video, and then also the other video, because you don't know what the videos are that I've given. The other video is from the last. It's an excerpt from the very last thing we actually did in our studios before lockdown, which was our last Prince's Trust project, and the band that performed at the end. Time is running out was the song. A little clip from that. So yeah, if you want to play them, and then you know you can ask us questions afterwards if you like.
Yeah, please.
Living with anxiety is one of the worst possible feelings. I may look okay, but looks can be deceiving. Let's go. Living with anxiety is one of the worst possible feelings. I may look okay, but looks can be deceiving. I'm hurting inside and I don't know the reason. I feel I've been defeated, my mind is a mess. Time to go and address the crowd, I feel like crying and screaming out. I wanna get these demons out, but they're stuck in my head right now, affecting me, stressing me, hurting me aggressively. Someone call a referee, this is foul play, I need them out, but they wanna stay. I'm fighting in my head every single day that I can't explain. I beg someone take the pain away, I feel I'm not gonna live for another day. They talk to me, laugh at me, maybe I should hope and pray. I beg you man, just go away. I always have the darkest thoughts, I feel I'm sat here fighting wars. I know it's all in my head, but they're counting scores. It's like they wanna hurt me, it's like they want me dead. I know I need to ignore it cause it's all in my head, but it don't help crying over stupid shit. No one should have to live with this, it's taking over people's lives. I know it's already affected mine. I just tell people that I'm fine, but sometimes I don't wanna be alive. I wanna commit some crimes, I just get vexed cause I can't explain it at the time. No matter how hard I really try, I really struggle to sleep at night cause of my stupid mind. It tells me I ain't gonna wake up. I try acting like I don't give up. I can't lie to myself, like who you tryna fool? I find it hard to follow rules. Sometimes I feel like I've lost it all and I lose control. My head spaces out and life feels like a dream. All I hear is echoes when people talk to me. My uncle tried to wind me up, telling me I'm scared, so I know.
I think you can tell by the look on I can't remember his name. What was his name?
Abdul.
Abdul. Yeah. The look on his face. You could just see the joy. You could just see the joy. You couldn't stop him dancing all week. It was great.
That was fabulous. Absolutely. So thank you so much for that piece, and really you're doing a fabulous job. So I had a question for you, Gavin. The question is, a lot of people do come to me nowadays and say, so what do we do next? And every time I say, you know what, ReadyPop does a fabulous job. You should probably go to them. The question is, how do we reach out to you, and whether from Sangeet Foundation, whether we can refer people to you? So I'm sure people would want to know about that, to say, how does that work? So
yes, totally, you can do that. And the people who are going to respond to you are here. That's Amy and Louise. So I personally not involved in that side of things, in the first face contact with people. I do get involved in the music making. I still work with the young people, but if somebody wants to kind of access our services or get involved in a project, and perhaps they know you, that there's a referral form and a referral process. But yeah, Amy, Louise, do you want to talk a little bit about how that works and what might happen?
Yeah, I can do that. So the best thing to do would be email us at office@readypop.co.uk, just because we do so many things that there are different referral processes for each thing. So if you just pop us an email and let us know what you'd like to take part in, or whoever you want to refer to take part in, we can go from there. So office@readypop.co.uk.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. And just to kind of follow on, I mean, Amy, you might want to jump in on this, but what we, as an organisation, being as we say, participant led, what we're going to do is we're going to go engage in a conversation with you or whoever it is that you're referring to us, and try and work out what is the appropriate way for us to support that person through music, depending on their age or their interests. So quite often people come to us asking for one thing, and then they end up doing something completely different musically. Amy, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yeah, I think that we work on very much like a needs-led basis. So we will try and work out what's best for you. I don't think that perhaps Jay's daughter thought that she would be a master of the drum kit when she first came to us, but now she's a phenomenal drummer. She'd never drummed before she got engaged with us, and now she's actually having online lessons. So that's a huge success, and that's happened across the last couple of years. But as with a lot of our work, you heard the Living with Anxiety track. That actually has quite a nice story behind it, and it shows how our work progresses beyond just being in the studio. That young person then took that track back to school. He was at a pupil referral unit at the time, and played it to his teachers. And then the teacher then played it to another young person who was currently dealing with anxiety, and they set him up as a peer mentor. So out of this, he went from being a young person not engaging in education, not engaging in anything, to then really using music to kind of express his emotions and help him to process his own mind. And then he went on to help other young people. And that's just one story. And if you have a passion for music, even if you don't have a passion for music, we'll create that for you. And there's something that we can do with everyone. Every single young person who walks through our doors, regardless of whether they've engaged with music before, ends up having done something musical and loved it. And it will be original music as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So last question for you, Gavin. This is a question about, do you have an outreach program for secondary schools?
Yes, we do. And again, Louise coordinates that for us. So we tend to deliver workshops around the Reading area. So we're based right in the middle of Reading. So we tend to connect with schools that are nearby. But we'll go anywhere. If the school really wants to work with us, then we'll go out. So yeah, we are working with all ages as well. So stuff we've shown today is teenagers and young adults, But schools work. We'll go and work in primary schools. We also run a project called Family Jam, which is for parents and kids, younger kids, to come together and make music. Yeah.
Sure. So thank you so much for that. So with that, we will proceed now to our next section. Thank you, Gavin, Amy, and Louise, for joining in.
Thank you.
And
Thanks, Gavin.
hi to you. as well.
Gavin's got the same music taste as me as well. So good. I can see.
Great.
Oh, you can tell. Yeah, I keep forgetting.
So there's a lot of questions around whether you work with universities, digital programs, and so on. So probably, a bigger session is required for that. So probably we should have a separate session with you completely.
Absolutely, but people are free to email us. You just ask us questions. We want to connect. Want to connect with people. We don't connect generally in the community with very many Asian people, Indian people, South Asian people aren't really generally accessing our services. Even though I played for many years in a Punjabi door band and toured with many Indian musicians. But yeah, it's not something, so we're really keen to hear from people. Just ask us anything. We're happy to get involved.
Sure. Thank you so much for that, Gavin, Louise, and Amy. So we'll move on from here. So we should catch up later sometimes, Gavin, again, and have a separate session completely.
Yeah, right.
Thank you. Right. Bye now.
Oh, wow. I think that was a brilliant session we had, a small one, and we got to also know that, we are actually reaching out to so many people, and music is helping in so many ways. But Mark, what I wanted to ask you, you are a campaigner, you are a speaker, and you have been campaigning about fathers' mental health, or about men in general, and that is obviously something that we have not spoken about so much, and it's not something that we speak about a lot. What I wanted to know from you, Mark, is can you just give us a little bit about your own journey, and how did you were diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 40, and obviously it was quite late in your life, and that must have affected you big time. Can you just quickly take us through your journey and where you are and why you are there?
Yeah, definitely. Growing up in the Welsh valleys, my father was a miner, my grandfather was a miner, uncles. So I'm a first generation not going underground. So our community is very much like, man up, let's get on with it. And I got wonderful parents. I still have it, in the family, but conversation wise, it's totally different than I'm having with my son now, thankfully. And my wife works in mental health as well, so we've got a better understanding. But I was totally uneducated about mental health at 30 years of age, so it wasn't just them, it was me as well. I wasn't educated. And so growing up, in the school, I don't blame the teachers, but I can't keep still now, and I'm 47 next. So I'm very, constant, my concentration. If what I know now, if I'm focused, having something I love, I can create things, my writing's better. But back in school, you get chalkboard dusters chucked at you, and, get outside. And I'd sometimes play up, not because I want to offend anyone, it was just because I was overloaded noise, I couldn't concentrate. And so you play up just get out of that situation, the class, so I was probably like a class clown, and try to make people laugh. And but deep down, I'd always suffered with some sort of anxiety, obviously. So but yeah, so school wasn't for me. The system wasn't designed for me, what I know now. And so basically, when I left, luckily for me, I went to a youth club. My mother took me into a youth club at 8 years of age. Totally changed my life. Stan Norris, 50 years volunteer. And he just told me, Mark, don't listen to anyone. You can do anything with your life. So he encouraged me to go into competitions and sport. And I found I was pretty good at sport, and that gave me the confidence. And went on to represent my country when 15, 16, become a British champion. So I had a lot of good self-esteem, but I left with no qualifications at 15, like a lot of young people. And so we got to change the system. We got to look at people's abilities and, you know, look and create those abilities rather than people unfortunately go through a system that doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah,
Well.
I totally agree with you that, you know, the idea of differentiation in education is so important because everybody cannot be put into one. You can't put everyone in one mold. Everyone is not the same. And that is across the world, Mark. I don't know if we are still in an age where we have come to a point where we can agree that we need to change that. I think we still have a long way to go before we can change that process of it. I mean, being a teacher myself, I know how difficult it is when I have two different sets of people within the same class and I don't have enough time to do all of that. But I totally agree with you that, you know, when you try to become the clown in the class, it is because you are hiding something within you. It's not because you want to be the clown. You just don't want to be recognized as someone with anxiety or anything else. Wow, you know, that is truly, it's phenomenal. It's, you know, you learn so much every day, but thank you for that. And, you know, so also, Mark, while I was doing a little bit of research for this program, another fact that actually caught my eye was that many fathers or many men, you know, they feel especially after childbirth, you know, when the wife has given birth to a child, they feel very removed from them. You know, they feel as if they do not belong to that bond that is there between the mother and the child. They don't even feel attracted to their spouse, and they feel as if, you know, they are separated in some way. Do you think that that kind of separation is caused due to anxiety, or does it cause them anxiety as well? You know, that they don't feel, you know, that they belong, because that's a very strong bond. It's no taking that away, you know, a mother and child's bond. And when the father tries to fit in over there, probably feels very excluded. I don't know if I'm asking the right question even, but
No, it's good. It's good.
It's something that's very, very common. And I would like to know, you know, why do the men feel like that? And it's probably very normal, but what can they do? And what can the women do? You know, how can the couple deal with it? Let's say that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, you know, like I said, you know, I campaign for fathers. I actually campaign for the mother baby in Wales to come back, and that's coming back. I'm all about parents as well, you know, all parents. But you're right. What people don't know aware of that when a father becomes a father, testosterone lowers massively during his time. And the best thing we can do is actually engage fathers with the skin to skin with a baby, because what that does, it releases oxytocin, which is good for the baby and the father. So if a father is really engaged with the baby then, and, you know, skin to skin, the massage, baby massage, the dopamine levels is actually hits them, because what happens is it's like a reward system. You get enjoyment out of that baby. So we have to encourage fathers to get in, you know, any opportunity. Mum, you know, needs a break as well. Mums need a break. So any opportunities fathers can get to have our skin to skin, especially in a new baby, etc. But that's really good. And also give fathers the confidence. You know, it may take dads longer to change a nappy, and it's okay. You know, but you know, try not to isolate them from, you know, give them the encouragement, give them the confidence, because as we know, you know, father has totally changed in the last 20 years, I'd say. And you know, there's more stay-at-home dads, singular. At last, you know, mums now are in parliament, you know, and dad's not always a breadwinner. So this is so vital that we have to include that in that process, because if dad is the only one at home and he is suffering with his mental health, that can have an impact on the child's development, you know, as well, if we don't support dad. So you're right, anxiety is far higher than depression in fathers as well. So it could be loads of factors. You know, the lack of sleep we don't talk about, that has huge impact on your mental health. That severe lack of sleep can actually cause psychosis to the end point, you know. That's how. So sleep deprivation has an impact, you know, and that you don't get a lot of sleep when you become a new parent, do you know. So that could be another factor. But there could be a range of factors why fathers are struggling during this time. The identity changes, loads of factors as well, transition in parenthood.
Oh, I totally love that, you know, skin to skin contact. And obviously it's scientifically proven as well that, you know, it helps both the father and the child, and that bonding is definitely created then. And it's so important. I think this is an education for all of us. You know, belonging to our generation, we've always accepted that, you know, the husbands or the fathers are just going to get on with it. You know, it's not, you know, you don't need that attention. Just get on with it. As you said, you know, man up. You know, that's the idea we have always been. I wish we were told that, and hopefully we will be better grandparents or whatever. We will be able to be better parents to our children and tell them that, you know, it's okay to not be okay, and accept that. Brilliant.
No, and some countries got different role of fathers. Some fathers, there could be loads of different fathers, you know, because obviously circumstances. So 2 or 3 different fathers in some countries, you know. So, but especially in the UK, because the way it's developed now, and now we put, you know, there's different pressures. Obviously, you know, with fathers staying home more and stuff like that. That's why it's even more important, really, as well. So sorry, I thought I'd put that in just as well.
No, absolutely. Please feel free, because as I said, this is such an important topic, and it is so important that we bring this across. We always talk. You know, I am learning so much from you, Mark, because we would always be the mother kind of thing, and that's all we always talked about. I don't think I ever expected my dad to be any different, and I wish I did. It brings in so many things into perspective, you know. So absolutely. And I was telling you this before as well, Mark. You know, I love that campaign with the hashtag which goes, "How are you, Dad?" It's such a pertinent question. And I don't think until I read this, I actually thought about it. And it's a question we never ask. Do we ever turn around and really ask our dads, "How are you, Dad?" And I think it's something that's so important. Just take us through your campaign then, Mark.
Yeah, so it's about, you know, asking dad twice, you know, sometimes, "Oh, I'm fine," you know, "Are you really fine?" So we always ask twice, really. But the hashtag is really a database as well. So every time I put any research or evidence comes on, it's a library of information, so they can find out more about, you know, what's happening recently. But yeah, we want, you know, health professionals to engage and ask fathers about their mental health as well, because even only recently, up to 90% of fathers wouldn't even talk to about their mental health. And, you know, we've got to understand the biggest killer in men in the UK is suicide under 45 as well. And there is high risk in new fathers, because the fathers are not screened or assessed. They go into mental health services. Like myself, I'm a prime example. I never get diagnosed with any PTSD or PND. And one thing to remember about PTSD, we know it's post-traumatic stress disorder, but it's actually an anxiety disorder, either witnessing or experiencing a life-threatening event. And it's nothing worse thinking your wife and baby's going to die in front of you. For me personally, it wasn't, and a lot of our parents as well. So those symptoms do overlap in the postnatal period as well. So a lot of mums are getting diagnosed with PND, but sometimes we've got to ask, what was your birth experience like? Was it traumatic to you? And those sort of things as well, you know. So it does overlap a lot. But yeah, how are you, Dad? It's just, I just want everyone to have a conversation. You know, how are you doing? How are you getting on? Because it impacts on all parents. Lack of sleep, huge part.
Absolutely. It's the simplest of questions, but I think the simplest of questions go most unanswered as well. Beautiful.
It's the same as music, you know, what Gavin was saying, like, you know, I've always been into my music all my life. It's helped me. And I didn't realize, you know, but we do complicate things with mental health, you know, there's walk and talk groups out there, you know, music therapy and stuff like that, you know. And in a project I run in a hospital with the NHS, we used to bring choirs into the wards for the people of the elderly for over 50 before they get discharged. They'd be there for months sometimes. And music, you can see their faces lighting up, and they were engaged, they were clapping. So that's something I haven't talked about other projects I've run. And music was a big factor as well, which was really good. And arts.
Oh, wow. Absolutely. I mean, what can I say? There's so much to learn from all of this. And just moving on then, Mark, is obviously our, you know, next award that you are going to give out as well. And this is someone who has worked on, I think he's someone you know as well. And he's a filmmaker, an award-winning filmmaker, and, you know, who actually talks about his mother's postnatal depression. And we had him before on the Sangeet Foundation, but I'll let John do the honors along with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And so after the Underwood Baron Award, which was the last award to Gavin, this award is the Living Mind Award. So, Mark, if you would do the honors of letting people know the name.
Yes. The next award is to Ian Cunningham.
Right. So I'll just put up. So this also has got a certificate as well as an award of £100, which goes along with it, and sponsored by Living Mind. So before I bring Ian on, I just wanted to share a short clip of his movie Irene's Ghost. So he's a very award-winning film maker, and he's made this fabulous movie called The Irene's Ghost, which has got many awards. So I just wanted to bring a small teaser from that. So, right. So if the technology will allow me.
I don't know if you choose the memories that stay with you, or if they choose you. My first childhood memory is of being in long grass. I'm outside a hospital, and I don't know why. Who do you think that is?
The next door neighbour?
That is my mummy.
Your mummy's grandma.
It was an unwritten rule that we don't talk about Irene.
When you don't have the real story, you have to build it for yourself. My dad waited until I was 18 to officially tell me about Irene. I always knew, though.
Tell me about her. It was a long time ago. Then it was taken away.
Hello there.
Hello.
Come on.
Thank you.
I couldn't believe that you thought nobody remembered her. I've never forgot Irene. We're very close friends. And I'm pleased that it's brought you here. Sometimes you never really get to know the true story of your life, do you?
Hi, Ian.
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for the award. Thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Ian, for joining in.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you. Yeah, good.
It's absolutely fabulous for us to have you with us today. So would you want to say something about the work that you are doing, Ian? And I know that you introduced Sangeet Foundation to Roshni Project, and we have Farah watching us right now, and she's put in a few comments as well. So over to you, Ian.
Yeah, well, so long story short, I guess, my mum passed away when I was coming up to 3 years old, and it was a bit of a secret in our family. It wasn't something that was spoken about very much. My dad remarried, and it's just one of those things in families. You know, I think all families have certain subjects that become sort of a bit taboo for whatever reason, or that nobody talks about. And when I was 18, I was given a box of her things, of my mum's things, and I was told about her a bit. And there was a baby book in there and things like that. But it wasn't really till I had my own child that I wanted to find out more about her, because nobody had really talked to me about her. I didn't really know what had happened. So the film is an exploration, really, that I went on to try and find out who she was, firstly, and make a connection with my mum, and try and find out what happened. And so she had something. Well, it took a long time. I met her friends, and I put adverts out, and I met other family members that I'd never met before. And eventually I found some medical records, and I found she'd had a maternal mental illness called postpartum psychosis. And she'd been very ill with it during my early years. And that's something where women very quickly after birth can become very manic and have delusions and experience psychosis. It also brings periods of depression and sleeplessness, and it's very kind of serious. But these days it is treated a lot better than it was then. And she developed subsequently bipolar illness, and eventually she died in a mental hospital, unfortunately. And so the film, despite that kind of subject matter, is quite an uplifting story about how if you turn towards these subjects, sometimes it can bring people together. And I think, you know, the conversations with my dad that we had during this, and with wider family members, it just really allowed people to deal with something that had been powerful in their lives and not really dealt with. And it allowed me to give a voice to my mum, who didn't really feel like I'd had a voice, and get to know her. And subsequently with the film, it's allowed me to kind of travel around talking about it, talking about maternal mental health, making connections with campaign groups like Action on Postpartum Psychosis, a really good charity, people like Mark, who I've met before at conferences and things, and Farah, and the Roshni Project, and all of those. And so it's great to have a platform to be able to talk about this. And over the last sort of 5-6 years of doing this, you know, we've seen the profile of maternal mental health growing, and that is great to see. And hopefully that continues. So Irene's Ghost was out in cinemas last year before last. It's on Sky Documentaries, so it's available on Virgin, Now TV, and Sky Documentaries if you have those channels. And the DVD is coming out soon, so if people are interested in watching it, that's how to watch the film. So yeah, that wasn't very short, was it?
I think it was really, really good to hear about that, and yes, it's important that people are aware. And from our previous conversation, Ian, I remember we discussed about the fact that, you know, that you also discovered that this can be hereditary, so where you can, you know, where people can be aware of if it's in the genes, then people can be aware of the future generations as well, to say you need to take precautions.
Yeah, I think, and it's a difficult kind of thing, the idea about hereditariness of mental illness, and there's still lots of grey areas, and it's very early in research about, and all kinds of mental illness are different. So, but with postpartum psychosis, if your mother has experienced it and you become a mother, I think you have a greater chance of developing it than in the normal population. It's still not a huge chance. It's a 1 in 500 chance in the general population, this illness, and you know, still not very well known about. I was meeting midwives who'd never heard of it, and which is quite shocking, really, when you consider how common it is. You know, it sounds rare, but 1 in 500 isn't that rare. So yeah, it's good for, and it's something, you know, like mental health generally is something that people in families find it hard to talk about. So often I met mothers who were experiencing postpartum psychosis, who had only really started talking and found out that their mothers or their grandmothers had experienced it when they were giving birth and experiencing this illness themselves. And if they had some warning about it, there's things that can be done to mitigate and help mothers during that process. So yeah, it's important to know about that. And it's it's a really difficult time now, generally, just to give birth, I think. And so just knowing, you know, having this awareness, having conversation about mental health during pregnancy, as Mark has mentioned, you know, for the whole family, is really important. So it's not something that people feel they can't raise or they're not aware of.
Sure. Thank you so much for that, Ian. I'll just put up a video of Living Mind, who have sponsored this, and they are an organization who work with mental health. So, and Orgho Shorkil he's also associated with Sangeet Foundation.
My name is Orgho Shorkil. I'm a consultant psychiatrist at Living Mind, a private mental health organization based in London. I'm also one of the trustees in Sangeet Foundation, who believes in spreading happiness through music and the arts. Living Mind feels privileged to felicitate Sangeet Foundation's annual award to Ian Cunningham, an outstanding film director. He has got passion of spreading awareness of mental health through his finest art of filmmaking. At Living Mind, we offer psychiatric consultations for various mental health difficulties. Our passion is to deliver an integrated approach, to understand the person as a whole. And therefore, when we think about drawing up a care plan for our patients, we think about medications when they are necessary, talking therapy, mindfulness approach, and often looking into the lifestyle management. We also offer complementary therapies like reflexology, acupuncture for various emotional difficulties. Our vision is making everyone's lives meaningful. Stay happy and all the best on World Happiness Day.
So yeah, so that is the message from the Living Mind. Right. So thanks so much, Ian, for joining in. And would you want to say something about the award?
I just want to thank you very much, and thank you to Living Minds. And yeah, I'll donate the money to the foundation. So thank you.
So is this to the NHS mental health campaign then?
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, that's so nice of you.
No worries. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk again.
It's a pleasure. Always a pleasure to have you on, Ian.
Oh yeah, well done. Yeah, that trailer gets me every time. Honestly, gosh, seriously, that trailer just gets me all the time. Every time yeah. So and the film, brilliant.
Soon, hopefully.
Okay.
It's a brilliant story, and absolutely, it's something people should talk about and should know about as well. Yeah, thank you for that, Ian.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you later then, Ian. We'll catch up.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Okay then. Bye now.
Yeah, I mean, that was again Ian Cunningham, an award-winning director, getting to know about his mother actually after she passes away. So there's so much that we need to know about mental health and what needs to be done. But coming to you, Mark, you were talking, or we were talking about, how it's something that has come down in society, or something that's come down from in generations, especially even in the South Asian diaspora, is that our fathers, they are the symbols of that unwavering strength. And we always, when times get tough, our dads are there to lift us, our dads are supposed to heal us, and do you think it's an endless pressure on the men to be strong per se, and especially fathers, whether it's for reaching out, does that actually stop them from reaching out to and saying to the world about their emotional and mental health challenges? And what do you think as a society we need to change? Because it is something that's come down the generations, especially I'm from India, and I knew that I was always told, as you say, your dad told you, just man up. I know my brothers and my dad were always like, you're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to, vent that out. You have to just carry the baggage and go on. And we felt that was okay. But obviously what you're saying is that's not okay. So how do we deal with that? Yeah.
No, definitely. And it's what Ian just video, up to 50% of fathers or partners can actually get depressed looking after somebody with postnatal depression or postpartum or peripheral psychosis, as Ian just said as well, so that's a massive area as well. But going back to what you just saying, this is why we, men, I remember growing up, gosh, you know, on the football field or anything, he wouldn't show any weakness, you know. But I think a lot of men are struggling to get that help sometimes. They think, you know, it's going to affect their workplace. If they went to the GP, it's going to be on a doctor's notes and they never get a job elsewhere. Certainly I did. And I started working in mental health started working as a youth worker in 2006 after leaving my career in sales, and then slowly, gradually get into mental. But I still didn't get the help at that time because I thought if I went to the GP, it'd be my doctors. And I used to worry about what other people thought as well, overthinking, you know, and mind reading other people as well. You know, that's another thing. And you know, I've learned from meditation, obviously, you know, those thoughts, how they could, you know, I won't go too much into meditation, but that's helped me a lot massively. And looking at other ways. But going back what you're just saying, yeah, there could be loads of different barriers stopping the men speaking out because they think it's a sign of weakness. And I always say, gosh, if what I know now to be a man is actually to seek that help and then get the help, you know, because it'll help your family and yourself, and there's far better outcomes as well. And what's the point of spending all your life being unhappy if you've got in something so easy can actually be so treated? It's so complex, mental health, as we know. You know, ADHD, you know, I still get my days, but at least I know my triggers. I got my checklist. I know what I need to keep up with my good mental health as well. And Rana, I was physically fit during this time before I went into community mental health team. I was doing a lot of kickboxing, so I was physically fit, but mentally it was impacting my physical health. You know, and these are signs we got to look out for as well, aches and pains and different things as well. These could be signs as well. And so, yeah, it's worth speaking out. Why spend all your life suffering in silence? What I know now, and my conversation now with my son, we talk about feelings, and it's okay not to feel okay some days. It's normal, you know. Especially since COVID as well, we've seen a high increase of people with anxiety because extreme stress can lead to anxiety, and that can lead to depression. And unfortunately, to the biggest killer men in 50 or 45. And we can remember women, we talk about suicide about men all the time. There's a lot of women, especially in the maternal perinatal period as well. There's high risk in maternal deaths as well. So, you know, we gotta stop talking just about men's suicide. We gotta talk about women who die through suicide. And when I say die through suicide, we don't use the word commit suicide because, especially in the UK, it hasn't been a crime since 1961. So that's another thing. We stopped using the word commit suicide.
Wow, that's brilliant, you know, because obviously we need to talk about this more. That's what it is, Mark. I think we need to, and men need to accept that it's okay to, you know, turn around the corner and cry. It's okay to let your emotions out. And I know at least the most men I know don't do it. And I think that goes out for most of the men, that if they do it, they are, you know, given names, you know, even without naming them, you know that you are giving names. Oh, you become this and this and this. And that is something. And as you said, you know, help is there. We have help. Help is close by and it can be sorted. And once you are feeling down, that is it's like the dominoes, you know, it kind of hits everyone else in the family and no one knows how to sort it out. So yes, absolutely. And, you know, you were talking about the mother and all as well. And just in a recent study on fathers' mental health, some of the fathers confirmed also that, you know, that it was never the experience about, you know, pregnancy and giving birth. Somehow it was never about them. So there's actually a quote from a father I have here. He says, "No, I am the male. My presence was often not acknowledged, let alone my feelings." So that is a straight quote from one of the NHS surveys. And what I think is, as you said correctly, is the father and the mother have to come together as a unit rather than, you know, being father and the mother. You know, if they come together as a unit, it affects the family as a whole, helps the family and the children thereafter. Do you agree to that?
Absolutely. It's all about a holistic approach, really. You know, if dad is mentally well, he's more likely to engage with his baby, you know, play, read, ruffle tumble play. That's the dad's role. So sometimes, you know, and that encourages that benefit. I always recommend people to have a look at the Still Face experiment on dads. It's on YouTube. I think we put a link up later on. We have, and that just goes to show. And if dad is suffering because of the way men suppress those feelings, I remember the conversation I had in the gym going back in 2010, 11, and how I started a group. There was a guy in the gym, and I said, "Oh, can I borrow the weights?" And he said, "Yeah, I got to go to NHS Prams." And I said to him, "Oh, I'm working at a hospital in Cardiff. What's NHS Prams?" And he said, "Oh, my wife's got post-depression." And I said, "No way." I said, "My wife had post-depression too." "No way." All of a sudden, side by side, I told him more things in 5 minutes than I told my best friend, even including my wife, you know, because obviously you don't want your wife to be concerned about what you're struggling with as well. And it was like a genie bottle. It was like whatever you want to call it. It was just like, oh my gosh, that felt really great. And by having that feeling of just offloading that 5-minute conversation, that led me down the path I went down today. And what was so unreal was the lady who looked after me was a CPN nurse named Gail James, who looked after my wife and see how well she was. And she said to Michelle, when you're well, come and do some talks about your experience, because I'm setting up a group, a specialised service for mums. And it just goes to show it's interlinked. If Gail hadn't set up that organisation, I wouldn't have had a conversation with Brian in the gym, and I wouldn't be where I am now. So some sort of fate, whatever you want to call it, it was just meant to be in a way. It was unreal when I think back. But going back, it was just a 5-minute conversation, and that's what the "How are you, Dad?" is. Let's have a 5-minute conversation. We're not asking people to diagnose anyone there, but ask them how you're feeling. Ask Dad how they're feeling, and it just sounds far better. It comes for the mum as well, because in my experience in the group, sometimes the mums, most of the mums are phone me up actually. They say, "Oh, look, my husband wants to come to the group. We don't know how to access it. He's, you know, because it's impacting my mental health, you know, as well." So, you know, that's how we started really, because, you know, mums were actually phoning me and saying, "Can my husband come to the group?" I'm fine. I've been supported, but my husband's still struggling, unfortunately.
Yeah. Wow. I know. So thank you so much for that, Ian. I think the idea is talk, even if it's 5 minutes, 2 minutes, let yourself be there and open your feelings. Will do you no harm, will do you good. That's the way to look at it. So working towards, moving on to our last award for this evening, Mark, is the university, which is working relentlessly towards community resilience to bring home the idea of mental health, how the whole family, is affected. And that's the De Montfort University. It's over to Joy again to bring them on.
Fabulous. So thank you for that, Indrani. And today's award is to a brilliant professor, Dr. Indrani Lahiri. And of course, we would also have Professor Shushma Patel, who's the dean. We will get them on. But before that, I just wanted to request, I actually, it was supposed to be Mark who was supposed to give out the name. My bad.
Sorry. Shall I do it? Yeah?
Yes.
So, I'm pleased to announce that the final award is to Dr. Indrani Lahiri.
Well done.
Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Thank you so much for that. So I just jumped the gun right now. So so this award is from an organization called MyCare 24/7, and this is the certificate. It's all e-certificate right now to Dr. Lahiri. I'll bring her on, but before we do that, there's a short video from MyCare 24/7 which I wanted to bring on, and then we'll go back to that. Here goes.
Is it your goal to maintain health and wellness? Or you need to see a specialist for a non-acute physical or psychological health issues? Or perhaps you already have a diagnosis for a physical or psychological condition and you require a second opinion? Or do you have memory difficulty and needs assessment for dementia, or perhaps already diagnosed with dementia and require a dementia care plan that will delay or prevent moving into care? Or in case you already have a condition and already maintained on medication or medications, and you want to lighten the burden of picking up repeat prescription and, in some instances, ensuring access to genuine medications from UK, then look no further. MyCare 24/7 have all of these taken care of. We have a list of suitably qualified and registered doctors in various medical and surgical specialties, general practitioners, and we can arrange your repeat prescriptions. What are you waiting for? why not contact us on telephone 0208 530 8888, email info@mycare247.org, WhatsApp 0746 641 4209. MyCare 24/7. Kindness at the center of healthcare delivery.
So that was Dr. Qasim's organization. Thank you, Dr. Qasim, if you're listening in. And I take the pleasure of bringing in Dr. Indrani Lahiri and Professor Shushma Patel. Hi, Dr. Lahiri. Hello, Professor Patel.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
How are you?
All
It's a
right.
very interesting program. Thank you very much for inviting us. And it's really a pleasure to be part of this program.
Yeah. So this award is essentially a certificate, and it goes along with £100, which is sponsored by MyCare 24/7.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for that, and of course to MyCare 24/7 as well. For presenting this award, and I would like to make an announcement, if that's okay, because I know that Sangeet Foundation is doing a massive work in music and mental wellness, and I believe that if I can have the pleasure to donate this money back to Sangeet Foundation and carry on this work, and then
Oh, wow.
massive work that you're doing, so I believe that it would be really an honor if you accept it.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Lahiri. I think it's fabulous, and the whole faith that you repose in Sangeet Foundation. I think that's the biggest honor for Sangeet Foundation coming from De Montfort University, both of you. I mean, this is amazing. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I think Professor Patel, she basically, it's a very tight schedule for her, but kindly enough, she has made some time to join us as well. So I think there was an interest within the community on mental wellness and research around that, and also how you connect that with creative arts and performances. Particularly coming from a practice side, isn't it? So I think Professor Patel is going to give us some idea regarding that, or would you like to introduce her first?
Yeah. Right. So basically, yeah. Thank you, Dr. Patel, for joining in. Professor Shushma Patel is the Pro Vice Chancellor, Dean of Computing, Engineering and Media. Professor Patel joined De Montfort University in November 2020 as Pro Vice Chancellor, and like I said, Dean of Faculty of Computing, Engineering and Media. Prior to this, she held various roles at London South Bank University, including Director of Research and Enterprise and Director of Education and Student Experience. She led university-wide initiatives in research and enterprise and learning and teaching. She holds BSc Honours degree in Life Sciences from what is now University of Westminster, and a PhD from the Faculty of Medicine, Institute of Dermatology, University of London. Her academic training has enabled her to lead multidisciplinary research in computing. She has worked with industry, for example, in media, technology, music, and manufacturing, on applied research projects to enable companies to exploit new concepts and technologies and maintain a competitive advantage. As an active researcher, she also collaborates with international partners on funded research projects and knowledge valorization. Thank you, Dr. Patel. Welcome on board.
Thank you very much. First of all, can I just say congratulations to Dr. Lahiri. It's brilliant that you've got this award, but also I've been listening into the sessions and really fascinating topics that have been covered. It's really nice to see things that you wouldn't normally want to talk about being discussed openly. So fantastic fantastic event, really. So thank you very much for that. And congratulations again to Indrani. Very proud of the award that you've got today as well.
Thank you very much. No, it's an honor. Thank you.
It's always an honor to have Indrani with us. And of course, Professor Patel, thank you so much for joining us and making this even more worthwhile.
Professor Patel, would you like to talk about your the PhD program that you run? I couldn't show the PDF. It just wouldn't show up in StreamYard. So would you like to say a few words about that?
Sure. We have a range of different PhD programs at De Montfort University, but the one I'm going to talk to you about today is the PhD through practice. And it is a doctorate. It's different to professional doctorates. It's a PhD program, and it's a program which will allow senior leaders, senior managers, individuals with a lot of experience in their professional practice, to enable them to undertake a PhD. It has the same strength and rigor, but it's about demonstrating how they can use knowledge and push the boundaries of knowledge a little bit further in terms of their professional practice. So formalizing the practice that they have in their professional environments. So it takes a look at the work that an individual does, but beyond that, contextualizes it within the research landscape, enables them to critique their contribution, which is really, really important. So, take a critical lens to everything that they do and to appreciate the impact, the professional impact that they have within their expertise and subject area. And it enables them to push those boundaries of knowledge, those frontiers of knowledge a little bit further. So it is it is a PhD. It is examined in the same way as a PhD, but because we're looking at individuals who are senior but have the experience behind them, it would take about 2 years full-time or 4 years part-time minimum to complete that. And we have 4 intakes over the academic year at De Montfort University. So it really is good for those individuals who work full-time but have got a lot of experience and who can then take that and formalize that experience through a recognized qualification. And let's face it, come on, the PhD is probably, arguably, the highest qualification you can study for as well. So, it's a fantastic, it really is a fantastic opportunity for senior leaders or experts in their fields to come and formalize their professional experience and practice.
Thank you so much for that.
That sounds really interesting. Something I'd fancy that if I was, yeah. Because sorry, that was really interesting. Because I think all the experiences I've done, I've just found all the research and evidence, of other people. But it's just something. Yeah, thank you for that.
No, it really is a really good opportunity because we have so many senior leaders with a lot of knowledge and experience, but to actually then put that into practice and contextualize it with the body of research that exists is really, really important. And in my previous institution, I set up a professional doctorate, which is different, where it included taught elements as well as the research aspect. But definitely the PhD by practice is much better because you're not expected to sit in a classroom and take taught elements, sit in and do those taught aspects of it, but it is research. So yes, Mark would love to have you as a student at De Montfort University.
I just writing it down now, actually.
The interesting thing is that we've got 4 faculties and very, very different disciplines. So, I've been listening to the conversation that's been happening, and yes, mental health. So we've got a brilliant health and life sciences faculty, which has a range of health and allied health professions, pharmacy, etc. We've got computing, engineering, and media, I think, arguably the best faculty at De Montfort University, but, not that I'm biased or anything, but it is brilliant. So, with media, people will say, why media? But media is really, really important, and it fits in, as far as I'm concerned, with both computing and engineering, because if you look at the technology and how media is utilized now, and if nothing else, the pandemic has taught us that, everything that we do and needs media, but it's that underlying technology aspect as well. We've got another faculty, arts, design and humanities, which is again looking at arts, but looking at it from a different perspective as well. And then our final faculty is business and law. So we cover everything. We've got everything at De Montfort University. So yes, definitely encourage everyone to look at a range of different courses that we do, but certainly our research is fantastic, and we are leaders in we are excellent in lots of different areas.
Fabulous. So thank you so much for that, Dr. Patel, Professor Patel. And Dr. Lahiri, Indrani, would you like to talk about the kind of work we have been doing? You have been doing in the field of mental health, the Manav Utsav, and so on. So I'll just put on the on this slide, and maybe you can talk to this.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Yes, I think I will echo, from what Sushma has already said about our research capacity in the university, and I think that the main thing that is quite different from other universities, I believe, is the interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary approach that we take. And some of the projects that I work in are, again, it's kind of very collaborative projects, and it crosses over different disciplines. So one of it is the Me Health project. It's a GCRF project where I'm working as a co-investigator. And this is focused in Kerala. And what we are trying to do there is to kind of build the mental health awareness through theatre performances. Of course, because the COVID-19 situation started last March, we had to redirect part of it, looking into the social media and how we can utilize social media platforms to then deliver the theatre and work with the communities in Kerala. We have run short film festivals, which was very, very popular in the community. And so, yes, we had to change, or we had to work through COVID-19 to say to look into the changes in the project. However, the focus has always been to bring mental to actually look at creative arts performances and see whether we can find solutions through creative arts and performances to address some of the issues around mental health. The other one that I'm working in, again, I'm kind of leading on their comms and media side again, is the Germs journey, which again started with Dr. Katie Lard, and she basically was trying to teach her child how to hand wash and all of that, and it all started with that. But however, at the moment we have produced like books that goes out to the primary schools, and of course the whole point of the Germs journey is to kind of make people aware, not only nationally but also internationally. Again, a wonderful project, I would say. In some ways it kind of links to, again, media. So my background in general is digital media and society, and I kind of tend to link digital media to different aspects or different disciplines, as you can see. The other two, again, the Children's Stories in Times of Corona and Manav Utsav. Children's Stories in Times of Corona is a project that I started working with the schools locally in Leicester. And then I created this space, which is a Facebook space, but it kind of helped bring parents and children, because last March we were clueless about how we share our space within the, because of course, the children were at home and their parents were working from home. So it was kind of a difficult situation to navigate through. And that's when we started to look at, enjoying space together and what we can do. And of course, we had a huge response on children's stories in times of Corona. And things where crafts, there are a whole lot of music, crafts, and also school teachers coming in. And then, of course, as we were moving on, we found out that South Asian Heritage Month is in July, and we have not celebrated that nationally here. So I thought that, well, this is the first time possibly we can start doing this in Leicester, and I launched this Manav Utsav, which of course Sangeet Foundation was co-partnering in, and there were other partners locally and nationally as well, and also internationally. And then we, of course, Sangeet Foundation did 2 of the productions that then went into International Children Festival. So the whole point of all these research ideas and the projects is very much where we are looking into new ways to use arts and media and performances to find answers to some of the complicated issues in mental health, and carry on this research and work with the community, very much with the community to make a change happen.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Yes, Mark, you were saying something.
No, it's great. I really enjoyed everything today, including that. It's amazing what's going on. I didn't even know about this. Well, I'm not going to know everything, but it's great what's happening there. Absolutely amazing. So brilliant.
Okay, great. So thank you so much for that, Professor Patel and Dr. Lahiri. And this was amazing. And which is why, the kind of work we have done together also, I'm always in awe. And hopefully we can partner also in the future for future programs, or future research projects as well. And Sangeet Foundation has a great platform where we can do a few surveys and, a lot of research work which can happen. So thank you so much for that. Thank you. And my apologies for the delay, because it was supposed to be 4:45. I know it was 5:10 or something when we got you in. My apologies, and it's already past half past the hour, 5 o'clock. So thank you for that, and we should definitely be in touch for the future.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye.
Yeah, brilliant work. That we have worked with De Montfort University before, and they just carry out the brilliant work. But yeah, before that's the final question we have as well for you, Mark. We have opened so many, I think, cans today so that people can now talk about it. You have helped us, and it's been such a huge journey for me, as we can see from some of the comments that have come on us also, that people are really, they are reacting to it. And that's what we want. We want people to react. We want people to know that it's okay not to be okay. And that's the important thing. So Mark, finally, just take us through, what are the points of contact for the men? If fathers, dads, husbands, whatever, what are the points of contact? Where can they find a helpline number? And what should they do?
Yeah, so we have changed policy with NHS long-term plans. So fathers will be screened and assessed for their mental health. That's only if mum has a perinatal or postnatal depression with specialist services. So that is coming. But it's a more general helplines. Obviously, the NHS mental health helplines. If you Google NHS mental health helplines, that's the more national services. But a lot of people are not aware of is the Hub of Hope. Now, the Hub of Hope, you put your postcode in, and it actually tells you what local services are actually in the area. And as an organisation as well, if you are actually a mental health charity, you can actually put your services in the Hub of Hope so other people can find you as well. And also IAP services, which are in England. We get a different structure in Wales. We've got more community mental health teams. But the IAP services are there to actually engage with fathers, with anyone, including mothers, but they are having some knowledge about fathers' mental health, new dads, paternal mental health, as such as they say. But IAP services can be accessed by anyone as well.
Wow, brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Mark. And I think we can conclude by saying or reiterating what you have been saying is that with the right knowledge and training, I think daughters, sons, mothers, and other loved ones can be a difference for the father's well-being or father living, with a mental health challenge. And knowing how to notice the signs of depression, especially in the men and other common health challenges, and also how to start a conversation about them. It's important to know how we, as the other side, not the man or the woman, the wife, the sister, the daughter, how do we start this conversation? And I think, as the tagline I keep talking about is, we just need to, I think, pick up the phone that lies by our side 24/7, pick up the phone and just say, how are you doing? So even if it is to your dad, to your partner, to anybody who needs it. So just this one, to all our viewers out there today, pick up that phone and ask, especially your dad, how's he doing? And, I think also to be able to know that, and as you said, ask him not once, ask him twice, ask him thrice, and see if the response is the same. And also, if he's not okay, to have a response to that, to be able not to shut that off then, to have a response to that. So that's the key message from us on this program today, that please start a conversation, talk to the people around you, talk to the men around you, as well as the women, come together as a unit and ask each other, how are we doing today as part of the society? Thank you so much, Mark. It's been such a pleasure. It's been such a brilliant session, a learning session for me, for sure. And we hope to have you back again. But on behalf of Sangeet Foundation, thank you so much from the bottom of our heart.
And thank you for asking me as well, because the work you're doing is absolutely amazing. I'm not just saying it. And luckily enough, a good friend of mine, Valsha, put me in touch with you a while ago. And I'm so glad that you put me in touch with you, because the work you're doing is incredible. So thank you. Big round of applause. And for putting this on today as well. Massive.
Really,
I've learned a lot today as well. A lot.
Thank you so much for that, Mark. And, I do owe it to Dr. Raja Gangopadhyay, who runs his IFWIP, the International Federation for Welfare in Pregnancy, the charity that he has formed. Unfortunately, he has not been keeping very active for past year. COVID had struck, and, that's where, where he has been struggling. So I wanted to get him on board as well as soon as possible. So he's doing a fabulous job there. And the most fabulous job is about getting me connected with you. Especially, I'm grateful that, you could talk to my daughter as well. And I saw that she was watching as well on this. She made a comment. And that has been about adult ADHD. And that has really, really resonated with her. And provided a lot of relief to her to say it does happen. It also happens to others. She's not the only one. And then if it happens, how did the other person deal with it? Through adulthood. And that has been a big message. That. So thank you so much for that. Yeah. So and thank you so much to the audience for being with us today. It's been fabulous to have you guys with us. And we are, so like I said, we are raising funds for the NHS mental health. So I'll put up the account details, sort code account number of Sangeet Foundation. So if you would want to transfer money into the account, then, we will transfer that out to NHS mental health. That is one. And obviously tomorrow also we have got a fabulous program as part of this series, but tomorrow is a performer. Naveen Kundra is a fabulous Bollywood performer. He's a songwriter, singer, and he's a local Bollywood performer, and he has performed for BBC and television, radio. He's been there. And he's going to talk about his journey about mental health. He'll be singing a few songs, and it promises to be a fabulous journey tomorrow as well. So I just wanted to announce that, and and it's about being happy. So our prayers that all of us should be happy. So any last words, Mark, for the audience before we close?
I think you just said it all, actually. But I think, don't suffer in silence. The quicker the help, the quicker the recovery, and be happy. That's what it's all about. Be happy.
Sure. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much once again. And I'm sure it goes out to our viewers also that, be happy, pick up the phone, make that important phone call and start talking, as you said.
Definitely.
Take care. We hope to see you again tomorrow. And as Jonathan said, that tomorrow we have a fabulous program with Naveen Kundra. And of course, hosting it is another brilliant host, a very lovely friend as well, Hoimonti Kumar. So hope to see you all tomorrow. Take care. See you back again tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.